Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and I am happy that you are here. This season, one of my goals was I wanted to make a pumpkin roll, and it's always intimidated me, just the idea of rolling up a cake and having it come out pretty and successful. But I wanted to do it, and I just ran out of time. So this is right after Halloween when I filmed this. I went to the grocery store, and the grocery store actually had free pumpkins. So I have no idea what type of pumpkin this is, but it was free, and I thought, you know what? We're gonna try it. Now, excuse my butchering skills. Don't do like I'm doing. Find a safer way to get into this pumpkin. But I picked up this pumpkin. It was free, and I did everything in my power to get this puppy opened. So we're going to be making a pumpkin roll today with fresh pumpkin. So all I did to prepare this pumpkin is I cut him in half and then I scooped out all of his insides. Those seeds inside the pumpkin I did not save, and I'm kind of regretting it now because you can do so many things with those seeds. You can roast them and eat them yourself, but then they're also good to give to animals. I'm not quite sure if all animals are in this category, so do your research, but pumpkin seeds are a good dewormer for animals. So I could have used that to potentially deworm my bunny or I guess not my cats, but whoever's going to eat pumpkin seeds. Now I struggled here because I couldn't get both sides of the pumpkin in the roaster at the same time. I would have preferred to use my electric roaster, but as you can see, that is in the background being used for another project. So I ended up figuring that wasn't going to work. So I just did one half at a time, and it just took a little bit longer, but it wasn't too bad. So I just had the oven set about 425, and these guys were in there for about 45 minutes, and they came out super roasted and gorgeous. So I just did them one at a time. I did put a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan as well to help with the roasting process. But once I figure out that you cannot do two sides of the pumpkin at once, I get these in the oven and get them roasted, and then we get them peeled and start the puree in process. I was nervous for getting the pumpkin out of the pumpkin shell, but roasted and cooled, this came out so easily. You just peeled it right off of the outer shell, and it was no problem at all. So I'm just putting it in this colander in case the pumpkin needed to drain. This was not a very wet pumpkin, but depending on the variety of pumpkin, it can be a wet pumpkin. So I just put it in the colander and I let it sit for a couple of hours while it cooled down. And it did drain a little bit of juice, but not a lot. But that's good to get out now because you do not want that in your puree or your final baked product. I have our pumpkin. I got it all out of the shell. So I took it out of its hide or its peel, put it in a strainer, and I've just been straining out some water. Pumpkin does have some water with it sometimes, so I just strained that out. And now, because if you can see the texture of the pumpkin, it's very stringy. It's very stringy. So we are going to put it in this bowl. And I did a little bit too much. At the bottom here, I found some peels. So I'm going to get my peels out. And we are going to get our immersion blender in here. And we are going to immersion blend this so it's nice and smooth. Make sure I don't have any more peels. So let's see if I can do it in this small bowl. took just seconds. It was so easy. And look how beautiful this pumpkin is. So with pumpkin, you cannot can pumpkin. If I wanted to can this pumpkin, I would have had to do it in chunks. Once you puree the pumpkin, it just becomes too dense, and a home pressure canner cannot get through that pumpkin. You need a professional pressure canner, which costs way more than any of us are using. So with my pureed pumpkin, I am going to freeze it, and I'm going to use it just in the winter for things like baked oatmeals, pumpkin breads, you know, anything like that. So this pumpkin, I'm loving that since it was free, I now have this pumpkin puree that I'm going to put in the fridge. And also whenever, I always have pumpkin on hand with a dog, because whenever my dog starts getting an upset stomach, or she has any sort of illness, sickness, or anything like that, she's not feeling great, I can always give her some pumpkin. And pumpkin is really good for dogs, especially when they're not feeling their normal selves. So this, majority of this is going to get frozen into probably 1 cup increments. I don't really know how much pumpkin I'm going to use for each recipe. So I feel like a 1 cup increment is pretty good. I will say I'm planning on going to the grocery store I got him at today, and if there's any more free ones, I'm probably going to pick up another free one and do the exact same thing. This is free pumpkin, and you can't beat that, right? So we're going to do that with the majority of this pumpkin. However, we are also going to make a pumpkin roll. So I wanted to make a pumpkin roll for a very long time, and I was intimidated. I was quite frankly, I was intimidated, but I decided this year I was going to make one. And we always like to have a pumpkin roll for Thanksgiving. So we are still about 2 weeks out from Thanksgiving. So I'm going to make this pumpkin roll now. That way, if he fails, I have time to make another one. And then I'm going to make him, put him in the freezer. Pumpkin roll freezes really, really well. So this would be a great dessert to make now for our Thanksgiving dinners. And it's made, it's prepped, it's in the freezer. You don't have to worry about it. And then all you have to do is on the week of Thanksgiving, or the day before Thanksgiving, pull this out of the freezer, thaw it, and you have a ready-made dessert ready to go. I also like to do desserts like this because I like being able to have it in the freezer. That way, if I like being able to have desserts like this in the freezer. That way, if I get unexpected company, I have a quick and easy dessert. I can just go pull out of the freezer, and you know, my company feels like they were not unexpected. I'm gonna start with, so we're making the pumpkin roll, which I've never made before, so we're gonna make it together, and I'm so excited. We're gonna start with 3/4 cup of flour, and this doesn't call for a lot of ingredients, so that's also really fun. You need less than a cup of flour, you need less than a cup of pumpkin. I think it just makes it really easy. To my flour, I need 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon baking soda and 1 teaspoon cinnamon. And then 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. And if you don't have pumpkin pie spice on your shelf or in your spice cabinet, you can make this super easily. It's just, I think, nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and maybe allspice. Cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, yes. So you can make that super easily. And we're gonna set our dry ingredients aside. In another bowl, I want to combine 3 eggs, 2/3 a cup of pumpkin, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And if you aren't doing this yet, get yourself a mason jar to put your eggshells in when you crack them. I will dry these eggshells out, and a lot of the recipes say you have to bake them. I bake them sometimes I'm just lazy and I don't. But you grind these up, and then your garden loves these eggshells. So whenever I plant anything, I just put a big helping of ground up eggshells in the bottom of the hole that I dug for the plants. And the plant loves it. I'm shooting another video with y'all. We're doing a whole bunch of onion stuff, onion cooking.
And some days I really hate my small kitchen because this roaster takes up my entire countertop. It is very annoying. So I'm just gonna do my eggs and my sugar first, nice and creamy. So I'm gonna add my vanilla, just a teaspoon of vanilla, and then my 2/3 cup of pumpkin. Just give me vanilla. All nice and mixed. So you want the parchment paper to be bigger than your pan. And my recipe said I didn't need to flour or grease this. But I think I'm gonna grease it lightly. Grease lightly. Okay. Okay, here goes nothing. Let's get this guy. Let's get this guy dumped out. I am so excited. I hope this works. I really hope this works. Because this has always been something that's so intimidating. And if I can get this skill down, I think that really opens up a wide array of other type of rolls that you can do. Like I know my mom buys one. My mom likes to buy the chocolate peanut butter roll. And so just think of all the different things that you could potentially do in roll form. I think that sounds fun. This also doesn't seem like it's enough batter, but I don't know. Okay. So now I have the oven preheated to 350. Here's a very pumpkin-y. Not very sweet, but I think that's gonna come from the icing. Now I'm gonna bake this at 350 for just 15 minutes because he's so thin. We'll go from there. I had to set my ironing board up again. I had taken it down because I had a party, and I did like having the open kitchen, but I needed the extra counter space. So while the pumpkin roll's in the oven, I'm just gonna start filling up some quart-sized bags with 1 cup of pumpkin puree in each bag. Again, I feel like that's a waste of some space because it's not that much pumpkin in a bag, but I don't want to waste pumpkin. I don't want to have to defrost pumpkin and I don't have a use for it. So I just feel like this would be the easier way to do it. But we got 9 bags of pumpkin puree. I just took this out of the oven. And it says immediately. He still looks a little wet on top, so I hope he's fully done. Let's move you over here. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous. It says immediately roll, so let's roll. I guess that's it. I guess that's it. Hey, I did it. I did that part at least. And I think that might be the hardest part, maybe. That was pretty easy. So now I just want to let him cool, and we're going to let him cool completely before we do the icing.
Now I'm just making a cream cheese icing that we're going to stuff or put in the pumpkin roll. And I just did 1 block of softened cream cheese. Then I just went and mixed slightly before I added the confectioner sugar and the vanilla. And this is just a standard cream cheese icing that I really enjoy, and it turned out delicious. This did not work as well as I wanted it to. I think what happened is I let it sit for too long. I think when you do this, you need to let the pumpkin roll cool for maybe 10 minutes just to get that heat of the pumpkin roll dissipated. But I think after 10 minutes, then you should frost it. The cake cracked as I unrolled it, and it had stuck to the parchment paper. So I'm trying to peel it off without it sticking so much to the parchment paper. So this was successful in the end, but I do think that you should maybe do this before it cools completely.
He is breaking. He is breaking. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. He broke. That was so close. I did let it cool completely. And I'm wondering if I should have done it when it was still warm, because it just cracked. So I'm gonna try to roll it over and see if it looks okay on the other side, and we can just hide this part. Okay, well, when you put it this way, it doesn't look terrible. Not super pleased, but it is what it is, I guess, right? First time attempt. So I'm sprinkling him with some powdered sugar to also help hide some of his flaws. And then I'm going to be freezing him, so I'm just going to wrap him back up in this. And I'm going to freeze him like this. I'm going to wrap some plastic wrap around him, and we're going to freeze him like this. And he will still get eaten. He's just not the prettiest pumpkin roll. Hi friends, Ed and Caitlin here. I forgot to sign off this video, so I wanted to sign off this video. And I also wanted to say I did pull the pumpkin roll out of the freezer about a week later, and just to try it, because I do want to use it for Thanksgiving, and I wanted to make sure that it was good. And it is good. It tastes delicious. It tastes exactly like a pumpkin roll, which surprised me a little bit, but it tastes delicious. And I'm so happy I made one, but we're definitely going to try again to try to get it so it doesn't crack. But I love that I have this fresh pumpkin in the freezer, and it's a free pumpkin that I got, so it's just free food. So I really love that, and I'm excited about all the different pumpkin things I'm gonna do this winter. So thank you guys for joining me. If you enjoy my videos, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.